What's going on, guys? My name is Ryan, aka Zella, and I love reading and reviewing indie comic books, and it is my goal to introduce you to your newest favorite original character and the teams behind them. Now, are you a fan of Blade, Supernatural, Buffy the Vampire Slayer? You're absolutely going to love Heart of the Darkness. Okay, so this is Heart of the Darkness coming from Fearless Comics. And if you guys are familiar with the Blurb Without Fear, aka Irving Crothers, this is actually his story. So this is always the page that I like to stop on. Please take note of these names. Quinn, you did some amazing work on this book, man. Now, the aesthetic of the book is kind of that black, white, and red sort of aesthetic. There's pops of color here and there, and I really like that because it does draw your eye in on the page and kind of like brings you through places. Like, not only is the storytelling kind of driving the plot, but like the visual cues are also bringing your eyes and deciding where you're supposed to look on the page. So I love this first page. It's a lot of darkness in here, and then bam, right away we get vampires and werewolves snarling and fighting with each other. And this is Kellan Hart, the heart in the Heart of Darkness. I mean, and as you guys can see, that black, white, and red look is absolutely amazing. I love the shades that he's got on. Now, these guys were fighting over territory, and Kellan here is supposed to be the one that is the mediator. So he's the one that's coming here being like, listen, you guys are supposed to stay on that side of the fence. You guys are supposed to stay on that side of the fence. What the fuck are you doing over here? And I love the way that this transformation looks, like from the werewolf back into the human. Like the human crawls out of the werewolf. It's so gross. I love the body horror. And something that we get down here is just a little bit of smarts on Kellan's part, because he has wolfsbane in the blunt that he's smoking. So just blowing smoke on him is, you know, an insult, but to add injury to the insult, literally, it's actually weakening the werewolf that he's talking to, which he even admits that he probably wouldn't have been talking this greasy to them had he not had these things, you know, set aside for this moment. So we continue on until he has to basically hit this guy right across the face and show him who's boss. Because even though Kellan is the one that's supposed to be in charge in this moment between the two tribes, he's the one that is supposed to be kind of keeping the peace, you know, he's still a person with squishy body parts, and he could probably be eaten or drained of blood, which is basically why Kellan in this moment has to just pull rank. He even pulls out his cell phone. He's like, you want me to call it a boss? And then he starts hearing all this laughing behind him, and he's like, what are you smiling about? And this is a little bit of clever writing that I enjoy when it isn't immediately apparent like a character's accent. I like the way that Kellan describes the way that the vampires talk, because then you can appreciate the fact that they probably have this like posh southern aristocrat type accent. The fact that he says, I do declare my honors being besmirched, that you can absolutely tell what these guys sound like just from that line of another character mocking things that they say. Chef's kiss writing. And that's when he has to show a little bit more power. Okay, you know what? I'll take you guys out. We good here. Everybody go back over there. You go back over there. I don't want to come back down here and tell y'all again. And then we get him walking out, and I absolutely love when supernatural or horror stories don't explain something. Like, I like a ghost walks right through the wall, and that's his assistant. Do we need to understand why that's his assistant? No, this is a world where there's ghosts and vampires and werewolves. She's letting him know that they have another meeting to get to, and that it's something about some missing kids, which he's already annoyed, and he's like, well, what is going on with this? But then when you turn the page, and we get a shot of this dark warehouse or something like that, and this is one of my favorite things about black and white. A lot of people talk about black and white in comics, and they feel like it removes depth or things like that, but you can only get shots like this in black and white. Like, this is absolutely gorgeous. But it's this guy talking to all these kids, so presumably the missing kids, and his eyes start to glow, and we can tell that he's the vampire. And he's like, the sun is set and the moon is high. I've slept long enough, and it's time to make a name for myself in the darkness. I once lived under the boot of a sadist, a literal monster. No longer. No one can tell me what to do. Not anymore. Not ever again. I make my own rules now. And my only rule is this. Well, if you want to know what that is, I'm going to encourage you to go over to globalcomics.com and you're going to look for Fearless Comics, because that's who is putting this book out, and it's up there available right now. Let me show you. So we're going to head over to globalcomics.com and we're going to hit Fearless Comics, and then we are going to read Heart of the Darkness issue 1. And you guys keep on reading, keep going, and you can find out what happens next. I'm not going to just sit here and explain to you what happens in the comic. That's not what I do. So what's my review on the book? Obviously, best book ever. And remember, guys, I only ask you to do 2 things. 1, go drink some water. 2, do something kind. And I'll see you next time. Peace.